Yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
Back
Nice.
Done it.
So I found the tweet. Do we just carry on? Like,
Yeah.
Do we have
The
to
Neo.
do we need context?
The Neo tweet.
I guess
Yeah.
context, yeah. Neo economy.
Speaking of Neo, I watched Matrix again. Oh my god, it's still good.
Does
Did
that
it,
still
did
hold
it
up?
age well?
1999.
Yeah.
It 70% holds up.
We actually
Okay.
had that conversation
That's not
earlier
bad.
about the Star Wars movie and graphics, like how the special effects hold up.
I've
How
never-
does that
yeah.
hold up on Matrix? Like the bullet.
The special effects, like the bullet time and stuff, still holds up. The camera work, because it was some of it wasn't CGI. You know when like they're in the train station and they had the camera rig fly around. So
Yeah.
the full, that all obviously holds up.
That scene was amazing, actually.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, great movie. Anyway, moving on. So Neo, was he after the economy update, he tweeted
Yeah.
out, and it was from an interview he did in 2016. I'm just going to read it verbatim, and we can run with it. So he was asked, what is the worst case scenario for a team playing a CSGO match? And his answer was, with the current money system, after being down, for example, 0-6, it is better to keep losing than to win a round. It gets even worse when it's a one-on-one situation. Why? Because after losing a few rounds in a row, the money reward you get for a loss is higher than for winning. Plus, the whole system gets reset, and if you lose afterwards, you only get 1,400, which means your team has to eco twice again. By this point, you end up 1-8 already, and still, if you lose the next round, you need another eco because your team gets 2,900. So the snowball continues even further.
I'll say this much.
It
Just
was
like
enjoyable to listen to you read that.
Thank
Nice
you.
voice.
There's more. Would you like some more?
There's a no, actually. So the so it's Neo, the prediction god, basically is the story.
It sounds
right?
like it.
Yeah.
2016.
That's impressive. Maybe you should do some like ASMR.
Some
type
audiobooks?
stream. Yeah.
I think so.
Do
Yeah.
an audiobook.
oh god.
You like that one?
No.
You like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Anyway, no,
there
but
are so many ways I could take that, but but we won't.
let's do that. Let's just go ahead and move on from that. No, but I mean, I can imagine from a player's perspective, it would have been very frustrating that you're basically in a situation after losing a pistol round where you have to kind of either, okay, let's win a round, double eco, and then hope we do well, or let's keep losing and whittle away their economy by going into 1v1s, and then we can win a round.
But
Ugh.
I mean, I still don't agree with what he says in terms of like it's better to keep on losing.
Financially, I think he was suggesting. Obviously,
Yeah,
we're
the
not
save.
stupid enough to-
but like
yes.
no, even from a financial point of view, like again, like he says that as a premise or like as a thought of again, he gets asked the question, what is the worst scenario?
Yeah.
But is it a very likely scenario? How often do we see that happen? How often did we see that happen? We never saw that many blowouts because of this.
I feel like I saw the scoreline 8-3 a lot. I don't know why. This is like
That's like-
guys, this is the pseudoscience. we're
yeah,
talking
I was about to say like
I feel
Yeah.
like, look, hey, how many times have you seen 8-3? I feel like I see 8-3 a lot. So, and then they come back and you get like a 9-7. Maths is hard.
I
9-6 half.
like I
So-
would say this, if you thought of the, let's say like the level of excitement throughout a game that lasts all 30 rounds, a best of one,
Yeah.
let's say, and you sort of had to like try and chart that, and you say like, well, what is it like? Obviously, theoretically, you want the level of excitement to be max in the final round. Like if you could script it,
In a dream.
yeah, you want that. You want it to be like 15-14, and the question is like overtime or
No, I want 15-14, 1v1.
Yeah.
Zipnix versus Device.
exactly.
oh,
somehow.
versus Device. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
that would actually make it really.
Wouldn't that be
exciting.
cool?
Just
Yeah, for
fighting
sure.
each other.
Yeah, I was about like it's
No,
probably
but so
gone
if
that
you
far.
if you could script sort of, if you could just sort of, graphically, if you imagine that sort of level go up and up and up and up, and then, but then the question becomes maybe something like, is that final round? Let's just say on the chart, that's like it's way up here. Is it more exciting if somehow the preceding two rounds were like had like a significant drop in them? So like, is it better if it goes like up and then whoop, or is it better if it just continues up like some sort of linear progression of just more and more and more and more
I kind of
excitement?
like the randomness of it. I don't know what you
I think there's it depends on how you get to 15-14, right? Like depending on if
Yeah.
it's like if one team has been on match point for some period of time and they're the ones to get their economy broken, then the suspense is still there for the rounds leading up to it because like I mean again we still know that you can do damage with pistols in CSGO.
I mean, a picture of this would be something like let's say round
I'm
number
gonna close my eyes. Hang on.
28 and 29
Mhm.
are rounds where one team has like an unbelievable economic disadvantage. There's really almost no way that they can do it, right? And they lose 29 or lose 28. 29, the commentary team are going to be like, well, this is looking very dark. They are out of this. Like they have almost nothing to work with. So our expectations are very low, and it's like we're like everyone feels it. Even with no one says anything, everyone knows like, oh man, it could have been good, but now it's kind of not because they don't have any money, and then they win anyway. And now we're in round 30, and they have everything, and now it's exciting. Like that is one scenario, and the other scenario is actually they're sort of just in the play all the time, even if they lose like 28, 29, like they can still keep doing it. Like it's hard for me to know. I don't have like a specific answer. I'm just saying that there's something there.
There is definitely something there.
Yeah, we do want to keep some level of consequence in the game. I think we tricked people into watching a game that can be slow at times, but that's what makes the payoff so great. And you know, the farther we stray from that, like the closer we get to kind of games that rely on being very exciting all the time, which makes things less interesting.
So I did a week at League of Legends recently. I was talking to the guys, and we were having a conversation about casting, and I was like, Counter-Strike is the dream game to commentate, because every 1 minute and 50 seconds you have a full story arc. Like you have the build up, the tension, the release, the climax, and then maybe even the surprise ending. And we came to that conclusion together. You said something earlier which I just have to address because it triggers me when I see people saying it in social forums and Twitter.
Yeah.
When a caster says they can't win this one,
yes,
or this shouldn't happen,
you
are all so stupid. I hate it. Obviously, it's possible. That's what makes it exciting. Anders, you were the first person I know that did this regularly.
Yeah.
And they're like throwing flack at Henry for it now.
I saw Henry was getting a lot of hatred for it.
So can you just quickly you explain this to me when I was a fledgling caster? I just got into it, and you were like, it makes it more exciting. Is that was what you said to me?
Well, that for me it depends on whether or not the caster is willing. I think the bad thing is if you say this can't happen and then it happens, and then as a caster, you have to say, I was horribly wrong, which is amazing because we just saw something incredible.
You were almost being facetious to some level.
Yeah.
Right?
I usually, when I say it, I'm usually saying that with the hope that there's something.
You can hear it. You can hear
surely
it too.
like
this isn't possible. Like you have to
happen.
save here. Surely you have to save. You don't. He's going for it. That's exciting.
To me, the problem is as well that there's another, like if you stray the other way and then you have to sort of go in a route that says, well, all things are always possible at all times. And then you can't do anything.
No.
You know, like it's very hard to work with that. And I think actually the problem that's happened in other esports. I've noticed. I think for me the most obvious one, that's way before I started casting, was in StarCraft, where you know. You almost never had commentators. You had amazing commentators in StarCraft, like no doubt about
it.
Still do, right?
Still do.
So, and I mean, in a lot of ways, created like, well, that's a whole other topic. But
Stop. This is not our podcast.
No. But
we do have vetoes coming up.
And we do have vetoes coming up.
It's
After choice, so we'll finish this really quickly. But just to say that, I think there was like a massive fear in StarCraft that if you sort of went all in on your own proposition of what you thought was going to happen, in this game, then you would get sorted as somebody who was out of touch with the current metagame or anything like that, and which is ridiculous. Like as long as you can say, I mean, there are obviously a lot of degrees of how things can be impossible in some sense, but like a 1 versus 5 theoretically impossible in Counter-Strike, but a 1 versus 5 where you have a minute left and you have all the health and
you have the bomb and you have some utility.
There are so many degrees of it. So
I agree, but I think that is the caster's job to say, now this should be impossible, but he has X, Y, and Z that makes just a glimmer of hope. Available.
I have a particular kind of round in my mind always where I it's hard to put, like, I wish there was one word for it, but there are certain rounds where the team that is 99.99% chance to win, I would say they 100% win if they take their hands and mouse off the keyboard and don't play.
Yeah.
Like there's 20 seconds left. The other guy cannot possibly find all of them. It's impossible for him to find them in 20 seconds. If they don't move, they win 100% of the time. But every once in a while, because they're humans, they don't. And then they start fighting and looking, and they lose the round anyway.
But the potential for that is what makes that last 20 seconds still exciting, because somebody is still it's
every
still possible.
Time. Yeah, and you can see it happening like some sort of train wreck.
And you
can't
have
look away.
You need to know.
This is so dumb, but it's amazing, like that is amazing.
Yeah.
And if every time you had one of those situations, you said, it's very exciting to see. Maybe something will happen here in the last 20 seconds. Like, I mean, that I think that actually does an injustice to the whole thing. So
no, I agree.
It's very car salesman-y.
Yeah.
And but you're selling false promises here.
But I would absolutely say if I had said this is impossible, they've lost this round, and then they didn't, like I'd have to like. I would find that funny for myself, but I would also have to admit that I did say that. Like, I think if you try and hide it and try to sort of say, oh yeah, man, I just meant like that. Then just eat that.
Why would
eat it. Never explain yourself afterwards.
No,
it sounds so bad.
I think that's what the climax is. The casting climax is you going, I can't believe it. As in, I genuinely thought this was impossible. That's
Yeah.
you don't have to go afterwards. By the way, guys, I just want to outline. I'm really sorry. I said that was impossible.
Yeah.
Clearly, I was in the wrong there, and he's a much better player than me. I know nothing. I'm a commentator. Tweet me.
Yeah.
Machine.
And
I'm an
suddenly
idiot.
the game is about you and
Like,
not the game.
yeah, it's not about the game. You just move on to the next round.
Should we do vetoes? I think
Do we have them?
I think we're just waiting for them to trickle in.
I think they
might
just
be-
pop
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I don't
the
know.
screen is
Yeah.
far away. I feel like I won't be able to see that.
That's why I'm wearing glasses. I
we'll
put them on
catch them, yeah.
specifically, so I'll be our eyes.
Can we just
and
pass
not
Halvor's
yours.
glasses around as we all talk about
Yeah,
that?
wait, yeah. What kind of eyesight do you guys have? Because I'm blind as a bat.
I can see everything.
You can see everything.
Yeah.
2020.
I didn't.
I have contact lenses.
Oh,
Yeah, that's cheating. But
And
I eat
but
a lot
and it
of
gets
carrot.
progressively worse, and I know why, and I'm too lazy to do anything about it. Maybe people. So let
sight's
me
like super good, man.
let me do 20 seconds on this.
Go on then.
It turns out that the reason so many of us are losing our eyesight is because we spend so much time looking at things like this.
I don't believe
And
it.
actually, almost
What
all
you
of us, almost all of us can correct it if we spend some time every day looking at things that are really far from the distance.
so stare into the sun.
Not well.
That's actually
That's
amazing.
That's
And
as
the
far
stare
away as
into the
possible,
eclipse.
right?
you should try that. But
Please don't try that.
Please, yeah, don't.
Please.
I've got something you can
Don't do
strengthen your eyes with that's very simple. So you guys ever like wake up in the morning and then lean over to one side and then pick up your phone and then crack one eye open and like look at the screen?
Yeah.
That's your good eye. So now when you're with your other eye, close your good eye and then try to stare at something with just your bad eye,
Yeah.
and that eye will get strengthened.
Yeah.
And that's important to do to
And
balance.
I want to look at the vetoes. Let's go ahead and
Yeah.
bring them up.
Oh, it's veto time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I think it's
Good.
phase first, right?
phase NIP.
Phase
Yeah.
NIP, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Are
that
we casting that one?
Yeah, we are.
Hell yeah. Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, NIP with a new lineup or a new man in their lineup as well. Like new, old.
New,
Kinda.
old?
Yeah.
Old, new?
something.
New-
What do we
new
call
for-
him?
Yeah, I don't know. Recurring character.
Returning.
Yeah.
So this is the one map that we thought FaZe would like to get to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Pretty much the only one that have been having some success on lately.
Yeah.
And that's it's smart band from NIP. Makes sense.
You know what?
All the
Maybe
way
this
through.
does come down to Overpass, even though like FaZe have kind of pushed it off a little bit. It could be Mirage or
These two
Inferno
teams
as well.
played a best of three last week or a couple of days ago. And I think Overpass was ended up being one of the maps in there.
Yeah.
Very one-sided maps though. I mean, we saw Inferno, we saw Overpass. Going
Ooh.
respect to their respective picks, you know.
Wait a second. Didn't they 16-2 NIP on Inferno in that series?
NIP 16.
Oh, it was the back-
16-3 to
Okay.
phase 1, 16-3. Yeah. And Train as a decider. Honestly,
No, it's not.
No. This is best of
Mirage.
one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just completely out of it. Mirage being the
The graphics
ground, yeah.
confusing us. That's
Yeah, no.
why.
In my mind, I was thinking.
Yeah,
it was the
because
reason-
they banned Inferno.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
They literally stomped them last week on Inferno.
yeah. The first two made sense because it's like standard bans from both teams, and it's like Overpass. Yeah, that was a good map for NIP
Can I-
last best of 3.
Can I just make an observation that I sort of feel like that. We've got 5 minutes to do this.
Yeah.
Wait, 5
I feel like Mirage has become almost the most hated map by.
I
enormous
don't
amount of people
understand
now.
why. It's a good map. It's a very good map.
Yeah, I like it.
It's
too,
it's
but-
really it's been played a long time and it's barely changed in the last 3 years.
Mm.
But that's because it has like actually become very solid. I think.
Yeah.
I love Mirage. I still have the Mirage pin on my profile. Use that one every day. But I do get what people are coming from in the fact that it is the least innovated map in the competitive scene.
It's so
you say
yeah.
that,
It's
you say
so
that, but
stale.
I have to bring
Argue.
up Cash.
Go on then.
I have to bring up Cash.
Cash?
Cash has been stale for about like a year after it came out.
Cash is quite stale.
It is
Yeah.
pretty
It really
stale,
hasn't changed. Like
There are a
you
lot of
went from-
options, but everyone knows them.
Exactly. Like you went through the periods where you had like the French like sudden pop rushes towards A, then you had the VP domination of mid, and then you had
Yeah.
the strategical checkers takeovers towards B, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was pretty much what you ended up doing for every single round. Now it's more or less like you play the basic style of setting up in a default to disallow pushes, and then you slowly just walk somewhere. Like there's no like.
Crawl. Dude,
super,
I'm
like,
so
big
desperate for
afterthought to
Cobble
it.
to come back. Let's just purge Cash or Mirage and bring in a Cobble.
Just
I'm
keep
well
in
up
mind,
for
like that might be a bit of nostalgia kicking in because I like.
Have you
we've
played the
had
new
our
Cobble?
conversations about Cobble,
You
how
mean
that
the
was.
small cobble.
Yeah, no, but there's a whole map attached to it now. It's not
No,
just
no.
the Wingman one, I mean.
It's not just the
Uh,
B
Yeah.
B side anymore.
They just took out like some of mid and stuff.
Yeah, but
And it's
there's
fine?
there's no danger now, like in double doors.
Uh huh.
So it's very interesting. The A site's really open.
Wait, was this the cobble that was on Halloween? Spooky cobble.
Yeah, just
I
like
think
with
so.
lights.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
played it with
I actually liked it. Wait, do we hate it?
I like
I haven't
Okay,
even
okay.
tried the new Cobble because it's not on the map pool,
mean,
so I'm not bothered.
I knew a lot of people that
Wow.
didn't like it, but I
and
like.
the skybox is sexy. It's really blue.
Yeah.
Anyway, there they are. We have MIBR.
Oh, that actually flew through. Okay.
That really did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick.
So bye to. So we're playing Train. What's any surprises on that one?
I think that
that's it's a good map for both teams.
Yeah.
If I'm ENCE, I'm actually really happy about that. I think MIBR. I mean, their stats are good on Train. I think it's deceptive. I think a lot of things about the MIBR lineup as of right now is a bit deceptive. I think they're better than what they were with Tariq and Stewie in it.
Sure.
Mainly because it, again, activates Coldzera to be just a god again, which is helpful.
Yeah.
I also think Phelps, seemingly right now, the dynamic of having Fur and Phelps in the lineup seems to be working out a little bit better. They seems like to have learned a little bit since the first instance.
I do wish, like, Fur's not playing ladder, which he was like the best.
No. But that's the same thing they had as well. Like when we talked about the crazy streak that MIBR had on Train, right? Like with FNX playing Pop.
13 or 13.
He was like the best E-Box player ever.
When Phelps came into the lineup, he immediately took over that Pop position, and he literally only knew what to do one thing. Like if we called like the corner of on cash for Bialy or MBK, right? Pop Dog should just be renamed Phelps.
Is that what he
like
does?
Standing inside that thing. And to be fair, like because he is damn good at the game, like he would oftentimes, get multi-kills, that kind of stuff. But again, it would punish him heavily as well because the rest of the team is kind of disjointed from whatever Phelps was doing. They've done that a little bit better, but I still see like massive issues in terms of how T sides can approach, attacking MIB CT side. I think that's like extremely vulnerable. And I think ENCE, like again, super systematic team, methodical team. That's what we saw them. That's why they had so much success at the major. I think like that's an eye opener for them. Like they should be looking at that and thinking like, ooh, this is juicy.
They didn't lose Train until the grand finals, did they? In the major.
And I mean losing to Astralis is kind of.
And it was probably their best shot. It was actually. I mean, if Zipnix hadn't just done Zipnix things, it would have been a whole lot of a closer Train game. So maybe that's a good map. I'm looking forward to that one.
This is going to be super sick.
So just to recap, pretty even on this one between the two teams. I agree. I think ENCE did a good job getting to Train here. On Mirage, who came up between Nip and FaZe there? Like who won? Who?
I don't.
Who won?
I actually couldn't tell you who wins.
That's such a coin flip. Like, do you put any trust into FaZe's recent form outside of Nico just doing Nico's thing?
I'm gonna go with Nip.
I'm kind of leaning Nip as well.
But that's because we've all lost faith in FaZe Clan because it's just been.
When was the last time you had faith in Nip?
I never lost it. Never lost it.
I've never lost faith.
Nip magic. No, but to me, like I think. The upside is bigger on the side of NIP, just like as in the now, simply because I think they've gotten their like roles structured out much more clearly now with Draken coming in.
Oh, here we get Draken.
He will op, right?
Who's gone?
Dennis is.
Oh, that's right. He said he's taking a break.
Yeah, exactly. So I think like you've sorted out a couple of like wishy-washy roles where you're like, okay, like 3 different people are going to pick up the op.
Can I say
throughout the game?
Just I'm glad that Draken is back. I think he deserves sort of a second chance in some sense to come back and do more.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Mikey Lele come back and play like a little bit of high-level Counter-Strike.
He's going to his first LAN. Do you see
such
that?
A character,
he's going to his first LAN in something like 6 months.
Yeah.
But anyway,
no chance.
We're off. We're off to another one. We've got
that's a banger of a match.
Yes, that's going to be great.
So let me think about this. So Liquid were forced to ban. Well, they're not forced. It's a best of 1. Nuke, Cash, Overpass, Train.
Very sensible bans.
This is all very sensible. Black and white.
Very quickly though, like okay, so is anyone else disappointed? Obviously, a new lineup on the side of Liquid now with Stewie instead of Taco. But is anyone else a little bit disappointed by the fact that Liquid didn't continue to try Nuke versus
float Nuke?
Because I thought Liquid had genuine upside on Nuke to the point where it's like they just didn't give themselves enough time. And again, like when they lost Nuke, it was well, they're playing Astralis. I mean, that's fair, but again, like you'd have such a targeted opponent that you need to go up against on a specific map.
Yeah.
Nobody else can touch you on it. That's where you pinpoint, like that's where you try to find the weakness of Astralis.
I would echo your sentiment for Inferno. There was, and I wish I was Duncan Thor and Shields because I'd tell you the exact tournament and round it was on. But there was a game very recently in a competitive LAN where Liquid pushed Astralis' Inferno. It was like the most gorgeous Counter-Strike. It was pure anti-stratting. Was it? No, it was before this.
Okay.
2018.
Okay.
But it was incredible. It looked so good. They had Astralis' number on Inferno and they came back, of course.
We didn't have to do this now, but we could play this game one day with Vendetta about games that happened in 2007 and you would get some of a similar result. It's really weird. So,
it's
true. That could be a segment on its own,
I can't do that.
Like when was the time that MTW played Pentagram and like you get some fun conversations there. In fact, that should probably be a segment one day. You should have you and Duncan in a just
trivia.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
It would be like a 5-hour-long kind of thing because we just dwell it. Like that's when you get sidetracked.
Oh yeah,
because we start thinking, do you remember that like Pentagram versus Eastro games. Like, yeah, but you remember like this Eastro game versus WNV. It's like,
Meanwhile, you ask me about that FaZe NIP game that I'm currently casting, and I'll be like, no idea, mate. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you guys remember GB James? I remember there was a LAN where Thorin explained to GB James that he wasn't on a team that he said he was on in 2008.
Really?
Yeah, like in front of Steve.
Oh, Astralis ends now.
More Dust 2. So people are willing to bring it to Astralis.
Best of one.
You know what? But it's like one of their best. You know, I think it was because it was up to Astralis whether or not they wanted to play Train. Yeah. I think if I'm Astralis, I maybe would have just done Train, but they, Ents are even better. So
I'll say though, if I have any confidence in a team figuring out the current version of Dust 2 like on a consistent basis, I'd go with Astralis. Simply because they've yet to be proven wrong on most instances, right?
And their CT side is terrifying.
Yeah. Just the way that, again, it's down to the very fundamentals of Counter-Strike, just how you play together as a team, right? How you set each other up and everything. Nobody does that better than Astralis, and so much of like the CT side defense on Dust 2 is about that.
I feel like if you're playing T side against Astralis, you either go long, mid, or B tons, and there's an AUG or an AWP just holding an angle, and you just have to walk into it or throw 3 flashbangs and hope.
I feel really bad about that. Like playing if you play T side versus Astralis, and like obviously depending on like how the spawn matrix is between the various teams, if you get bad long spawns, or basically like when you have a good long spawn, if you're running into Astralis' good long spawn as well on the CT side, it's like, well, long is never going to be an option for us, really.
Yeah.
Unless
and
you want to
Magisk and Pit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nowhere near.
So it's like you would have had the option, right? Like just like dumping like 90% of your utilities. Like, guys, we got long.
Magisk can just play an anti-flash throughout all of them. He's just staring.
Goddamn tomato man, like is sitting in Pit, just waiting.
He's terrifying,
waiting for the kills.
Yeah.
Up next,
that might be our FaZe.
Ooh,
on
awesome.
Nuke. Wait, okay, so how does this happen?
Wait,
so
why did FaZe let this through?
Yeah, they FaZe first phases.
Yeah.
Nuke on their first matchup versus NIP.
Yeah.
And let it go through to Nuke. Didn't MIBR come out and say that they actually started playing Nuke? They played Nuke.
They are starting a record. They played once.
1-0.
Yeah.
100% win rate, which is
100%
wow, they're like a
which is better than FaZe.
But that's what's weird. I was gonna say like some sort of meme about FaZe, and I want to anti-strat the MIBR's Nuke. Because there's one demo that they can look at.
I saw this, like, because I think the match that MIBR talking about is the WSG game they had versus AGO. And that was AGO's pick. And again, like, when we saw that, we were thinking, like, oh, MIBR let it through.
Yeah.
But like, AGO don't really play Nuke either. So you're like, okay, this is a weird one, but, maybe they're going with, like, highest percentage chance of having an upset on a random map,
so
right?
MIBR, wait, can I just clarify? That was MIBR FaZe Clan. Best of one.
This one, yeah. And then, and we don't really know how he got there.
How does that happen?
I can see MIBR if they've actually,
it was just on FaZe to like if they want to let it through.
I think FaZe played
really
Nuke before in Katowice, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess the other map it could have been was Mirage.
They did.
Yeah, but it's still like really weird. It's still really weird to me.
Okay, we got Liquid Nip now, and Nuke not in the conversation.
Ooh,
Liquid banning it every time we've seen the veto from Liquid. They're not taking Nuke in the group stage round.
Maybe because people are, maybe it's like a thing versus NIP that people don't want to.
Actually, Valdes said he didn't believe that Nuke was a good map to play in a best of one.
I mean, the logic's there.
There's the fair few maps that you don't want to play in a best of one.
Yeah.
I'd wager like Dust 2.
But
I would put that on a
maybe
best of one.
Maybe that changes now. Best
Actually,
of one.
that is, I mean,
slightly.
We don't really know how teams have figured out the new economy system, obviously, like through practice and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe they're feeling like a bit of a shift in balance in terms of how
it was ECS and W. Actually, WSU never used the actual economy.
They didn't use that. No, they didn't use the economy. They used the I guess weapon changes, balance changes, and that's
so this is the first chance to see proper offline. Compared competition.
I think
hyped up.
I think you can even explain to some extent why Nuke is maybe one of the hardest maps to play in a best of one. Just if you analyze it from the angle of, if you're playing on the T side and you have to figure out exactly how are the CTs set up, like, is there 2 yard, 1A, 2 ramp, or is it, is it 3 inside, 1 yard, 1 ramp? Like, just to try and figure out, like, put some numbers on that. That's so hard on Nuke. Like, you really, really have to, and because they can go from being one to the other in like 1 second, it's like, like literally the inside rafters player could become the yard player in like 3 steps,
Yeah.
Like that's so tricky.
Just to kind of like, again, like further to the point we talked about the economy and how we're more likely going to see more buy rounds coming out from both sides. Is that going to affect how, like, what kind of maps are being left out from bans anymore? Because I can see that being a case with Nuke, because one of the big chances of getting a lot of rounds on the T side, which is, or at least has been historically the hardest thing to play, was because you were able to break the economy of the CTs. Now that's not going to be as big of an opportunity anymore.
Yeah, but I also think it doesn't. I think the current version of Nuke is different so much that it almost doesn't matter.
That is
in the
true.
same
Before
sense.
these go away.
Ooh, another overpass.
That's exciting. I like Overpass.
Where did Nuke go?
This is
Nuke went early.
Astralis
So
MIBR,
yeah, so
okay.
like here MIBR. Well, I guess you're playing against Astralis,
yeah.
and you're not Liquid. So
28, 29 now.
I don't mind this. I think. Well, I think for Astralis, like let's say the strongest maps in order would be like Nuke, Inferno, Dust 2, and then Train, and then Overpass is down there. I think.
Astralis are quite stubborn about Train, aren't they? I guess, especially versus MIBR.
Yeah, I think that's more.
But it was against Ents as well, right?
Yeah, but I think that again, like just
but this was the
that's
map.
one of the better maps for both those teams. So from Astralis' point of view, like they want to just remove any sort of strength their opponent has and want to just get to middle ground.
This was the map at the major that MIBR probably won more gun rounds than Astralis did on Overpass.
That was the season 14 one, right?
Oh, good
Yeah.
point.
There are some other things about this map that I always am a little bit uncomfortable with. Like, I think the point in history when Astralis really broke MIBR on this map was I can't remember exactly what the game was because again, like I don't have that kind of a memory. But there was sort of one match where I think Device out or Fallen almost every single time. Like they had like one match where it was just so like there was so one-sided.
So but the one where Device came out saying like I've been watching your
so
demos,
heat maps.
and Fallen was like, oh,
been watching
the
all
heat
those
maps.
things.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't think Device is amazing with the AWP. I definitely think he does, and I think weirdly now Astralis have like more people that can do it, which is even more
Scary.
upsetting. But I just still think that there is definitely a world in which like Fallen will have a game one day where no one will touch him on that even just on that side of the game. Like I still think if you take Fallen on his best day with the AWP on a map like Overpass,
He has one of the best clutches of all time on Overpass.
Yeah.
Where he was in CT spawn and the bomb was planted back of dice box and he hit that flick that was off his screen.
I was casting that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Stop blowing my mind.
Dude, I had like
Was that 1v5?
we're on air. I had like goosebumps for like 30 minutes after that one.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, so face Liquid. Next matchup up. Overpass going out early.
Okay,
So
interesting.
again, like here, I mean, yeah, no first face ban on Nuke from FaZe. I guess they do have the time to play with. Cash being actually
They're
led
letting
through by Liquid.
3 maps through. Oh, wait,
FaZe are super happy about this. I think
yeah.
this is about as good as it gets.
It's kind of weird for Liquid, honestly. They have better maps, lot better maps.
Do you think
go
like
to.
they had the option of picking Inferno instead of Cash? I would think I'd rather
take
see
Inferno
Yeah,
because
I
they're the
think I'd
second
rather
best
see Liquid.
Inferno team. Like
Yeah, I think
by
I'd rather
far.
see Liquid on Inferno, just like Nav going to town like
we've
that.
had no Inferno at all, have we?
Nope,
It's been-
not a single one.
And that was usually like again like
That's the best of one
common
map.
ground. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best of one map.
But I can actually see Inferno being a map that is affected by the economy in terms of how you might not want to run into a. Like, just think about the effect of having banana control and the amount of grenades you have. And if all teams have more, then like that becomes a.
Areas just shut down
Yeah.
entirely.
that's actually something interesting I wanted to talk about with Train. But is this a new?
Yeah, bite your tongue for a sec. Let's
Okay.
cover
Oh, yeah, we got
Ents,
Nuke,
and it
okay.
is going to Nuke, interestingly enough. So this is quite funny because you've seen teams playing Nip and Ents, making sure Nuke's not in the pool, and now when they meet, it is of course picked. So we're going to be. That's actually going to be a quite interesting affair. I don't know how Ents' Nuke's going to shape up.
Yeah, I was about to say like I'm not sure how I'm feeling about Ents' Nuke, but I do know how I feel about NAP's Inferno, and that's pretty decent.
They chose to take it there. They had
exactly.
Well.
Ents, I can see why Ents would not want to play Overpass, but then again, like if other teams are vetoing Nuke against NIP just early on,
It's weird. Yeah, good. It had FaZe and
Liquid?
FaZe and Nip both banned Inferno both either versus each other and then versus another team.
Yeah.
But you could see how that could be just the sort of Finnish mentality of saying we actually just don't care.
It's like,
what
we'll
they-
take you.
Like that's just not a problem for us,
Yeah.
Yeah, God, they
so-
are characters, man.
They are in
Yeah.
a bit of a steam of things, you know. So
I hope one day they'll just be like, just a whole segment of Aloe Wisdom, like the things that, like the end social media team. puts
Yeah.
out. It's amazing.
Yeah, so we're into round 4, and we have MIBR Liquid. Looks like we're going to be going to Dust 2 again, which is actually
Oh, I'm ready for
this.
that.
This is going to be a
I'm ready for
very
that.
spicy
That's
Dust
gonna
2.
be good, yeah.
That's
That'd be
going to be
wild.
awesome.
Yeah, they both teams like want to play us too. They want it to be their like one of their home
Ooh.
maps.
What's the
Yeah.
ultimate 1v1 between on Dust 2 between these two? Is Twist
Taco and
versus-
Stewie,
it's Taco. Oh well. Okay. I was gonna say
both
Twist,
wearing the other jerseys.
yeah,
Twist versus Cold or something. I don't know.
yeah, I'd go with Twist
Yeah,
for Liquid pretty much on any map in
Yeah.
that sense. And yeah, Cold the way he's playing right now is not a bad shot either.
No,
I'm
he's
surprised
killing
when Nuke was left so far into the veto though. Like
Yeah,
actually
true.
Liquid deciding to take it to Dust 2.
I'm trying to find out
You're
who's
playing
casting.
chicken
I
with
wanna
it.
s- make-
Yeah, no,
I want to
it's,
see if
but
I'm
it's
casting
weird.
it
Like
wrong.
again, even with like a new player into that Liquid lineup, you'd imagine that they still would be decent on Nuke,
There it
right?
is.
Like it's not like that just vanishes completely.
No.
And MIBR has played one official game on Nuke, and all of a sudden everyone's just like, nope, not touching that against them.
Yeah, it's
And it's like before
You're
this,
casting
what?
that
It's
one.
what is like 2
What's
years
that?
since they played it.
You and Scrawny are doing that. Dust 2.
oh, that does too.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
All right, FaZe versus Ends.
Yeah, round 4 now. So
FaZe versus
Deep
Ents.
into the round.
And
Again?
So Nuke goes through again. Yeah.
FaZe must have.
There's something
Something
really
doesn't add
strange
up.
about FaZe's bans.
I can see
especially.
Yanko there. I'm going to shout at him. In a
Yeah, something doesn't really add up for me here because they've been so adamant about banning it early in a lot of their vetoes, and some places they just let it do. But again, we
I
talked
mean-
about how we were a little bit surprised by the fact that
Yeah.
And-
He's like he's having a
He's a
serious
conversation.
conversation. Yeah.
But yeah, if things are not going as well as they should be for FaZe, then maybe you
play Nuke
why
now?
not trying something new.
2 times.
yeah, nobody
Right.
noticed
I can see that.
when. Oh,
Okay.
they play
They've had it.
everything.
Yeah, they've had it ready. It's in the
Alright.
oven. It's in the oven.
Okay.
They were
Yeah.
saving strats. That's
They were
pretty much
saving
what it comes.
strats.
That's
pretty
actually
much
not
what
a
it
meme.
comes
Yeah.
to.
We play everything. We just didn't get to show it. I kind of like that.
yeah.
Anders
I
doesn't
mean,
have an.
Yeah, are
any
you,
of
are you
that.
convinced by that?
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, if I had to write it down on a piece of paper, yeah, if you're good on all maps, that's definitely better than if you're good at,
And that is why we need it on the analytics.
Get
Yeah.
on the
Can't-
server, get the
can't
puck to
argue
the
with
back
that.
of the net.
You know,
and get more
your
goals
chances of
moving
winning
for you.
go way up.
Yeah, and if you
Yeah.
just go out there and play your game, hit your
Yeah.
shots,
Right.
Yeah.
y-
Should
You
try and
usually
get to
do
16
well, yeah.
rounds if you can. That would be really good.
God damn,
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Anyway, another Dust 2. Why?
Just
Blah, blah,
Just
blah.
look at
Holy
this though, like
Smokes.
NIP have been so
That makes
okay,
sense.
but like NIP have been so okay with just leaving a nuke in there, and it's just like the second Astralis pops up.
It gives them a lot of power as well. Like, if
Oh, Astralis? Yeah, they're just almighty.
But
They're like
like,
Thanos.
they guarantee that they can pick your weakest map
That-
because you have to ban nuke.
This is I think this is true, but here's something that's interesting. Like if everybody keeps banning nuke against Astralis for a really long time, then I actually think Astralis even might end
Stop
up
practicing it.
Yep, yeah, and that will definitely happen, and they will end up with they won't even know their own level.
Yeah.
Like it's at some point that will happen, right? They're like
It's
You
I
gotta
think it's
ice
a-
the
so-
kicker.
yeah, and even better, you can be the team that breaks the record. Even more than just beating them, you become the
Oh,
one
there's
that.
so much more
But
pressure on
this
nuke
is-
games.
You
I mean,
had this,
NIP
like-
totally wanted to be that team.
For
Yeah.
every team that's had a dominant map ever in the history of Counter-Strike, they've gone through the exact same path. Same thing with MIBR's train streak
Yeah.
as well.
NIP
Nobody wanted to play them for
NIP's
Yeah.
train.
a year. Yeah,
Yeah.
like nobody wanted
and
to play
we're all equally shocked when they lose. We're like, oh, but how did they lose? Right? They haven't played it for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like it's literally a waste of time for them to
Ents
keep practicing.
and Liquid going into this fourth round still. I think this is the
Fifth.
last game of the fourth. Oh, we're into round 5 now.
Round
Okay.
5.
Moving out.
Wait, how's
Moving
that
about.
possible? We do round 5. We have
I
to
thought round
play
5 was the veto we won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
round.
you have to
Vita we
play
won?
no,
the
no,
four-
no. Round 5
Yeah.
is fine. Then it's the standoff. Then it's the final.
Yeah.
This is the last round.
Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of interested that Inferno hasn't popped through. I feel like that's
That is actually very
There's
surprising.
another chance
Zero
here too.
Inferno games.
Yeah,
I feel like Liquid
Ents
had
were
the
burned
best
really
option.
hard on their Inferno at in the final.
Yeah.
that was tough.
I feel like
But
Liquid
they still have it.
Liquid have had the most opportunities to bring Inferno through it.
Oh, you know what? It was a Liquid Inferno. Sorry, the Liquid Ents Inferno game at the major. That was so hard to watch.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It was actually a great comeback from Ents
From
in
Ents,
terms
yeah.
that they played
But, like,
extremely well.
what
There's
was it?
even so much there's mutual respect from both teams on Twitter afterwards about just that was a choke, but they actually played well in every single
have
round on
to.
the way back.
Is it was it 15-8, 15-9?
Yeah,
something to that effect. Yeah, 15-8. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Okay, so MIBR NIP next. Going to train.
We're finally seeing
Finally.
MIBR playing train. Yeah.
So that was because they had the choice before.
Yeah, they've played it once, or they're playing it once, I guess, up to this point. That's where it just ends.
People are being very dynamic about their vetoes.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Apart
Yeah.
from the Inferno.
I'm not sure whether that's down to teams feeling confident or just not really knowing what they're doing in that sense.
Anders, do you know
Like,
how
if
far
it's
ahead they
down
do?
to feeling that they're playing off their strengths or not.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I think they're supposed to do these 2 weeks in advance or something.
So this has been done long time ago.
Yeah, but
That's
were they not
that's
just
worth saying.
vetoing downstairs? That's
was
what I
that
was
what-
going to ask if they were vetoing downstairs right
I
now.
know in previous Blast tournaments.
Okay.
Yes,
it's
previously.
been weeks in advance.
They're doing it right.
Yeah,
live
and
vetoes
I
last time.
think that makes sense
Okay.
because imagine if you do that veto 2 weeks ago, and then you obviously have the massive changes to
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
some weapons, shotguns, that kind of
Fair,
thing,
yeah.
and then obviously the economy comes into it as well,
So
and
they're
all of a sudden
happening
you're like,
today.
oh, we can't play like this break their back
Right.
on a map.
Final map.
Final veto takes us to Dust
Is
2.
Astralis playing anything outside of Dust 2?
They don't need to until
It's
a best
kind
of 3.
It's what the other team gets to kind of choose where they play Astralis, right? Astralis,
Yeah,
like whatever
you're
you
not
give
wrong.
us.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, we're seeing Dust 2 a whole lot. I guess it makes sense for Astralis to not go with Mirage.
Have
They
we-
showed some weakness there versus Renegades at the major.
Yeah, they said the only map that you could have a 13-2 come back on versus us is Mirage.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's like their weakest.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I still feel like if someone had asked the question, like, the old info you're going to get is that one of the maps isn't going to be picked at all in all the best of ones leading up to the finals. Pick which one it is. You wouldn't guess.
I would have gone Cash.
Cash, Nuke.
Yeah,
We probably would have unanimously said most pick map will be Inferno. Right?
Yeah,
that would have made sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
incredible.
This is
actually.
crazy.
Yeah, exciting times.
Yeah.
Dust
It
2
really
with the
is.
new Inferno. It
Calm
does kind
down.
of come full circle, though, doesn't it, with Counter-Strike? A lot of
Yeah.
the time.
I
At
will say
least with the maps.
I do not like playing New Dust 2, but I love watching it. It's provided some of the best like series
I
that
think
we've
it's
had
really fun to watch. I'm
recently.
until the doors get basically swapped. Yeah, like either first off change material and then just like swapped around on the V-bomb side. I'm not gonna be like it's not gonna be one
Yeah,
of my
spamming
like,
someone
maps.
for 14 dinks behind the wall is
Yeah,
kinda
and doing like
stupid.
67 and 67. It's like,
Yeah.
no, but it's I mean it's like some minor change I would have liked to see to the map, and obviously like skyboxes is a big thing that
Looks
I've
good.
wanted to see since you
Yeah.
know the map came out, more or less. So.
Yeah.
I think until that pops up, it's not going to be my favorite, but I still like it more than Cash. Because
Well-
Cash just feels very played out.
We're going to see it a lot, so it'll be an exciting time. We are going to wrap it up. We went through all the videos, and I think FaZe is going to be coming up next on the couch. So
Yeah.
should be a good time. We want you guys to hang around and
Stay
stay here. It'll be lots of fun. Maybe some of us will come back in and do some stuff later on. I'm not sure, but hang out, and we'll be back.